So, I do not have any background in music, formally, or informally. I love listening to music, I love listening to all sorts, and eventually that got me to a point where I needed a microtonal guitar. And for whatever reason, if you need a microtonal guitar, which is the only reason I imagine you're here, then I'll try to tell you everything that I learned when I was putting one of these together, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and again, what I would and wouldn't do if I was going to build my own just from scratch again. So if you've made it this far and you're not sure what a microtonal guitar is, all it is a guitar that has extra frets that divide a normal fret into multiple so that you can play unique sounds that are between pitches that you'd hear in normal Western music. So those would be quarter tones as opposed to what you would hear with just a normal fretting arrangement with the guitar. We'll walk through my construction process real quickly, what I like about it, and then what I don't like about it, and what I wish I would have known. So I bought the neck from Reverb just as a listing. It was $26 on Reverb, and I purchased it. I asked the seller if it was a Telecaster neck. I never got a response, and I assumed it was just because of the shape. But when I bought this neck, I immediately took a soldering iron and held it on the original frets until the glue had melted off, and then popped all of those off. And then I sawed exactly in the middle of where the frets where the new frets were going to be. And that's one thing that's a little controversial, is it's not technically halfway between the frets when you do the 24-tat tuning arrangement for these, which I would imagine is going to be the most common layout for these kinds of guitars, especially if you're going to do it yourself. But yeah, that's one thing where it's not technically in the middle, but it's close enough to the middle where I didn't think I would notice a tonal difference. So long as I was trying to strike it exactly in the middle, I was going to be okay with it. But if you are trying to make it perfect, then you are actually going to need to do the math on where these middle frets will go. That'll add your intervals. So when I did that, cut them all halfway like I was saying, put the frets in, cut the frets off, sanded, and then filed them until they were level, more or less. I think building the guitar was relatively straightforward, and I'll link a video to the construction process that I used. As far as what I like about the guitar, obviously, it gives you a whole new world of what you can play musically. And that's one thing that's really complicated in learning all the different not even chord shapes, just all the different maqams, which are like the Eastern or Arabic or Turkish scales, quote unquote, to play. It's all extremely sophisticated. They use the quarter tones so you can practice scales, quote unquote, with quarter tones. And it sounds absolutely remarkable. It sounds foreign, especially when I have it tuned to what I normally have it tuned to, which is DAD-GAD, D-A-D, G-A-D, and C-sharp, F-sharp, C-sharp, F-sharp, B-E. So, ton of fun. Sounds great. What I don't like about it, intonating the guitar is pretty much impossible because I have a sitar bridge in here too. It's not a pickup, if you can see it on there. It more or less acts like a sympathetic guitar bridge, and the saddles are just adjusted so that I don't come into contact with that too much. Otherwise, there's not even buzzing, like there's not even a sound from the notes. So the saddles are just adjusted to a point where they can clear that. So it's not intonated extremely well. It's gotten a little bit better as I've been kind of able to narrow that down and adjust the trusser out a bit, amongst other things. But the body originally started as Esquire. I replaced the bridge humbucker with a P90, and then put the P90 in the neck when I put the sitar bridge in. Relatively easy as far as wiring goes, because it was really just the ground and the tone and volume leads to do. The first ever pickup replacement I ever did on a guitar as well. Only one so far, but still. And then all of the things that I wish I knew before I started making this guitar. There's only a couple big things. One, I did do right, which was to not buy a guitar with a finished maple fretboard. Don't do that if you want to buy and build your own, especially if you're going to be working with the new frets, because the new maple fretboards are going to have a finish that you're going to need to strip before you would add the different frets, which is going to be a little bit more work. Other than that, one thing I didn't do that I wish I did was use extra jumbo fret wire, because by the time you're done sanding and filing these all away, because there are so many extra frets and you're trying to prevent buzz, probably even more so than you would be if you were adding frets to a normal guitar, then you're going to end up filing away quite a bit of material, and you'll be probably better off if you end up using more material in the beginning to start with. So I don't love scalloped fretboards, but I could 100% understand them being on these if for whatever reason these got popular. I don't see that happening. But other than that, I would suppose just do your homework on what neck and body is going to fit as well before you get a grand idea of putting a neck just on any guitar body. Obviously it makes a difference, especially if you're going to go with something that has a set neck, or if for whatever reason you had something that was neck through that you're refretting to be microtonal. Obviously this one's a bolt-on neck. Any of the Squire series was probably going to be the easiest to work with at the end of the day. And as far as that goes, that's pretty much it as far as what I wish I would have known before I started building one of these. The last thing that I would say is to take your time. You're gonna have plenty of time with it, and you're gonna be trying to adjust it and intonate it and learn all these fancy new makams and ragas and arrangements that you're going to be wishing you were back to the time where you'd wished you'd worked on the guitar a little bit longer. It's pretty much all I have to offer. I'll offer a couple playing samples just for some of what I play when it's in either of the tunings. So. And that's more or less it. So if there was any part of this where I didn't elaborate on something and you wanted me to, just let me know. I'd totally be down for making another one of these, whether it's the construction process, something I like about it, something I don't like about it. But again, if I could just say one thing, if you are gonna make one of these, just take your time, do it the right way, and just know that you're gonna have something at the end of the day that you're gonna be really proud of. It's going to unlock a whole new musical world for you. It's going to feel like playing a new instrument, but it will be worth it in the end. That's the idea. Anyways, like I said, if there was any questions you had, just let me know. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much.